Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Matt down in the catacombs with a little hesitation about tonight's show topic. Rob, do you care to address the folks, or should I handle it?
I think I'll let you explain yourself.
Okay, the problem we're having here, ladies and gentlemen, is that producer Rob really, a long time ago, has insisted that when it comes to our friends over at Church Militant TV, that Remnant TV simply move on and leave it alone. And, well, for the most part, I agree with you.
Right.
But when it comes to the constant harangue against the poor folks in the Society of St. Pius X, it just makes me a little angry. It seems really unfair. So maybe this will be it. I guess we're responding, aren't we? So that's the good thing. We're not responding to an attack on us. We're responding in defense to others.
Right.
Let's face it. I mean, our guy, as far as the traditional mass is concerned, is Father John Eckert down in South St. Paul, the two-fisted military chaplain who gives us a traditional Latin mass every day. He's the guy. So that's where we go. They're not attacking us over at Church Militant TV. But indirectly, maybe they are, because we defend the Society of St. Pius X. I don't know. In any case, this week on Michael Voris's Vortex, Michael's become possibly the most committed critic of the Society of St. Pius X on the face of the earth today. God knows why. And he informs his fans the following. Quote, from the bogus visions of Medjugorje to the schismatic existence of the Society of St. Pius X, ooh, scary, to the mad ramblings of dissidents in seminaries and Catholic universities, Rome rarely slaps down anything. And the problem is that as long as something isn't condemned, the followers or adherents of said issue can say, well, Rome hasn't said we're condemned, so we're okay, end quote. Pretty standard issue Michael Voris stuff. But what's upsetting to me is that Michael Voris here is actually lumping in the Society of St. Pius X, which even you would agree, Rob, has never even been accused of heresy.
Right.
There's an irregular canonical status, sure, we all admit that, and so do they. Never been accused of heresy. And yet Voris is lumping them in with false and perhaps satanic apparitions, heretical seminary professors, and apostate Catholic universities. It just isn't right. It's just a violation of natural justice. His campaign to undermine his fellow Catholics by referring to them as schismatics continues unchecked, in other words, even after the fall of Catholic Ireland and the diabolical decision of the U.S. Supreme Court to enshrine sodomite marriage in our own country. Things are really bad right now, and to spend so much time worrying about the technicality of the canonical status of the Society of St. Pius X just seems like a monumental waste of time. And you know what? It just isn't nice. Our good people are just trying to raise their kids and save their souls. I mean, to treat them as the enemy, I just don't get it. When so much of the world today is in the throes of godless rebellion against everything good, beautiful, and holy, it's just unsettling and surprising, quite frankly, to us, that the Society of St. Pius X should remain Church Militant TV's big bad wolf. Honestly, it just seems misplaced. Now, conversely, get this. The far more mainstream Catholic Herald in England features an article by one Joseph Shaw, who's a mainstream writer. He's an Oxford guy who happens to like the Latin Mass and is associated with the Latin Mass Society. He writes an article which should give our old friend, Mr. Voris, plenty of cause for pause. In the course of Mr. Shaw's perhaps overly optimistic commentary on our current father's attitude vis-a-vis the traditional Latin Mass movement, the Herald does the right thing by the Society of St. Pius X in categorizing them fairly, in charity, and with a constructive manner and tone of voice that will go a long way towards uniting Catholics right now over an issue that is admittedly thorny and very divisive, rather than gratuitously blowing everybody apart as Church Militant TV insists on doing every week. So Mr. Shaw of the Catholic Herald writes the following, quote, policy directly attributable to the Holy Father has smiled upon the Society of St. Pius X, a priestly institute dedicated to the traditional liturgy, which was supposedly suppressed in 1975 and has been operating ever since then without Rome's oversight. Formal theological talks to reestablish the society in good standing appeared to end in failure under Benedict XVI, but friendly gestures from the Vatican have continued. In accordance with Pope Francis's policy now, when he was Archbishop of Buenos Aires, the Society of St. Pius X has been recognized as a Catholic group by the Argentine state for administrative purposes. Society of St. Pius X members continue to be allowed to celebrate masses in the basilicas of important pilgrimage sites all around the world, such as Lourdes and Lisieux. Now, many observers were recently astonished to hear that Bishop Follet, the Society of St. Pius X head, had been appointed judge of first instance in canonical proceedings relating to the Society of St. Pius X by the Vatican Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith. Bishop Follade noted later that such practical arrangements have been routine for 10 years. People who have been saying that the Society of St. Pius X is not just irregular, but actually schismatic, have had to swallow hard in the wake of this, end quote. Again, this is Joseph Shaw. This is the Catholic Herald, mainstream Catholic magazine. So let's just hope and pray that sooner rather than later, Mr. Voris, Mrs. Niles, and the rest of the CNT TV crew will swallow hard and stop their counterproductive attempts to polarize good and faithful Catholics who may disagree on strategy and a whole lot of things, but who are all united in desperately trying to keep the faith in the midst of the worst crisis in the Church in several millennia. This unfortunate attitude, where the Society of St. Pius X is concerned, strikes us as a rather significant part of the problem in the Church today, in that it is needlessly divisive, borderline inflammatory, and seems to come up well shy in the area of basic Christian charity, whose dictates even the Catholic Herald, no friend of the Society of St. Pius X at all, by the way, even the Catholic Herald feels obliged to follow those dictates of charity when referring to the Society of St. Pius X in the public forum. It's just good form. And why is this? Because to continue to insist on the word schism, which is the mortal sin of schism, where the Society of St. Pius X is concerned, even after the head of the Society of St. Pius X is now receiving appointments from the Vatican itself, to continue to insist on deriding these people as schismatics is, objectively speaking, a serious violation of charity. Now, one doesn't have to be a supporter of the Society of St. Pius X to recognize this. You can hate the Society all day long if you like, but you don't get to slander them. You surely don't have to support the Society to recognize the obvious fact that the Society is hardly among the most fearsome enemies of souls, representing some grand spiritual threat to the common good of the Catholic Church today, as Mr. Voris and his friends seem to suggest on a regular basis. Now, the Catholic Herald clearly recognizes this, as does, ironically enough, the Vatican itself, which prompts us here at Remnant TV to speculate and to wonder, what exactly is up with Mr. Voris? Surely the Society of St. Pius X doesn't represent some sort of market competition in the mind of Church Militant TV, right? It can't be that. So what's going on here? What are we really talking about? Why does this continue? What are Voris, Catholic Answers, and the rest of the neo-Catholics so afraid of? Isn't it time for all of us to stop this on issues that we can't settle anyway, that will have to eventually be settled by the Vatican, by the proper channels in the Church? Isn't it time for all of us to stop the bickering? Come on, girls. You're all pretty. Let's just move on. For Remnant TV, I'm Michael Matt. We'll see you next week.